For years, trainers at marine parks believed orcas were cooperative show stars, mesmerizing crowds with leaps and graceful maneuvers. But that confidence crumbled one night in San Diego, when a killer whale dragged its trainer underwater, revealing a new level of danger. Meanwhile, two more incidents near the Shetland Islands and off Morocco show orcas ramming and even sinking boats. Are they reacting to captivity and passing vessels in unforeseen ways, or is there a deeper factor behind these startling events? On a November evening in 2006, visitors packed SeaWorld San Diego's Shamu Stadium, eager to watch orcas perform spectacular leaps and synchronized moves. Spotlights lit the pool, and the audience buzzed with excitement. Trainers stood by, ready for well-rehearsed tricks. SeaWorld had long promoted these shows as safe, educational experiences. Yet, behind the scenes, killer whales are powerful predators with complex instincts. Although trainers worked closely with them every day, no show is without great risk. That night, an experienced trainer named Ken Peters entered the water. Soon, everything changed, revealing the delicate balance between human efforts and wild forces. Ken Peters was well respected at SeaWorld for his calm attitude and thorough knowledge of marine mammals. He had spent years mastering training techniques that aimed to foster trust between people and orcas. His gentle style earned praise from peers and guests alike. Kasatka was a 30-year-old female orca captured off Iceland decades earlier. She had a strong personality and often showed dominant traits toward other whales in her pod. Trainers recognized her intelligence and noted she sometimes tested boundaries. While she performed thrilling jumps and responded to signals, she also had a history of unpredictable behavior. Before that November night, Kasatka had displayed aggression toward Peters twice, in 1993 and 1999. Each time, staff reviewed protocols and tried new methods for safer interactions. Still, Peters believed he shared a bond with her, relying on detailed training routines to keep each show controlled and engaging. He trusted her each day. That evening, the show followed a standard script. Ken Peters floated in the water, waiting to cue Kasatka for a jump. She glided toward him, then suddenly grabbed his foot in her mouth. With a firm pull, she dragged him downward. The audience gasped, unsure if it was part of the act or a grave emergency. Under the surface, Peters felt intense pressure as she held him near the bottom of the tank. After several seconds, she surfaced, lifting him into the air. He tried to remain calm, patting her back and speaking in a reassuring tone. For a moment, it seemed she might relax. Instead, she pulled him under once more, this time keeping him below for around 40 seconds. Breathing grew difficult, and Peters worked to keep his focus. He knew panicking could worsen the situation. On the pool deck, other trainers called Kasatka and signaled her to release Peters. They tapped the water, hoping to distract her. Staff also prepared medical gear, ready to act at once if Peters broke free. The orca continued her actions, sometimes surfacing to breathe and then diving again with Peters in her grip. Despite the fear, Peters stayed composed. He used the signals he had learned during countless training sessions. When Kasatka finally let him go, he swam toward a ledge where staff helped him out of the pool. Blood seeped from his foot, which had deep puncture wounds. He had also torn a ligament, adding to the pain. The ordeal lasted about 9 minutes, though it felt much longer to those who watched. Spectators were told to leave, and the stadium went quiet. SeaWorld staff rushed Peters to on-site medical care, and then to a hospital for further treatment. Word of the incident spread among the marine park community. Video footage, intended for internal review, later became key evidence in a legal case about trainer safety. In interviews after the event, Peters explained he had no warning signs from Kasatka. One moment she was calm, the next she acted with force. While orcas are trained to respond to signals, they remain large, independent animals with instincts. Even small shifts in environment or mood can lead to unexpected actions. This dramatic incident raised serious questions. How much risk should trainers accept? Are in-water shows worth the potential harm to both people and animals? For many, it was a wake-up call, reminding everyone that these whales may respond in ways no one can predict. Observers also questioned whether SeaWorld's breeding program and performance style were pushing orcas beyond healthy limits. Peters continued to defend responsible training, yet he, too, had to face the harsh reality that wild instincts cannot always be fully contained. After his release from the hospital, Ken Peters needed time to heal. Doctors set his foot and recommended therapy for his torn ligament. SeaWorld management immediately reviewed safety rules, looking at ways to reduce close contact with the orcas. They placed more trainers on standby during performances, hoping that quick intervention might save lives in a future crisis. Kasatka underwent medical checks to ensure she had not suffered any stress-related harm. Staff observed her behavior in the days following the incident. Some believed she had experienced a moment of agitation, while others suspected deeper issues related to captivity. The park's veterinarian team continued to monitor her health and interaction with other whales. Regulatory bodies launched their investigations. They questioned how trainers were protected and what triggers might cause an orca to become dangerous. SeaWorld faced citations for safety lapses, though the company insisted it had solid protocols. Park officials also tightened guidelines on water work, allowing fewer in-water stunts and increasing the distance between trainers and whales. Peters wrestled with conflicting emotions. He loved working with orcas but recognized the inherent risks. He gave statements to authorities, emphasizing the unpredictability of large marine animals. Over time, he resumed duties with orcas, yet the memory of that November night stayed with him. The public, meanwhile, began to wonder if it was ethical to keep such creatures in tanks for shows. As news spread, the larger world took note, sparking a debate far beyond SeaWorld's gates. Many questioned the park's future. Marine parks worldwide examined their routines after this event. Public interest in orca behavior surged, and attendance at shows began to shift. Some visitors supported SeaWorld, believing these exhibits helped people value marine life. Others argued that confinement caused stress and aggression. Researchers proposed that orcas might act out when they lack stimulation in concrete enclosures. On a clear morning in June 2023, the North Sea near the Shetland Islands looked calm. Orcas sometimes pass through these waters, thrilling tourists and researchers. Yet few expected the kind of aggressive contact that happened to 72-year-old Dr. Wim Rutten. He set out from Lerwick, heading toward Bergen in Norway. Conditions seemed perfect, and he felt at ease. Then, as he fished for mackerel behind his boat, an orca appeared. At first, Dr. Rutten admired its sleek form. Moments later, he realized this whale had other intentions, launching a series of rams against his aluminum yacht's stern with force. Dr. Rutten was a retired Dutch physicist who loved solo sailing. He had spent his career studying complex scientific problems, yet found peace on the open water after retiring. His boat, a 7-ton aluminum yacht, was sturdy enough for long voyages. He felt confident piloting it alone, even in cold northern seas. Equipped with basic fishing gear, he often trolled a single line at low speed. Fishing was his simple pleasure during crossings. He saw orcas in the distance before, but they never caused trouble. He considered them majestic and was always eager for a closer look. On this trip, he wanted to visit friends in Norway and enjoy the long northern days. He double-checked his navigation equipment and weather reports. Everything suggested a smooth ride. When he noticed the orca approach, he prepared his camera, hoping for a memorable photo. However, what followed was far more dramatic. At first, the orca swam directly behind the yacht, near the fishing line. Dr. Rutten feared the whale might get tangled, so he pulled the line back in. Suddenly, a jolt shook the stern. The orca had rammed it, causing the aluminum hull to vibrate. He felt soft shocks each time the whale made contact, as though it was pushing or testing the boat. Then the whale began circling, blowing loudly before diving again. Dr. Rutten spotted its dorsal fin slicing through the water with purpose. When it vanished, he braced himself for another impact. Sure enough, the orca returned at high speed, ramming the stern a second time. Each strike sent a shiver through the yacht. Worried about potential damage, he grabbed a life jacket and checked the engine. The hull seemed to hold, but he knew repeated hits could be dangerous. He considered radioing for help, though he hesitated because the orca's behavior might simply be curiosity. Still, the forceful collisions were alarming. As the minutes passed, the orca circled again, then drifted off, only to come back once more. Dr. Rutten tried tapping the side of the boat to redirect it. He also slowed his speed, wondering if noise from the engine or vibrations attracted the whale. Finally, after one last pass, the orca disappeared into the waves, leaving Rutten shaken but unhurt. Though it never tore the hull, the repeated strikes raised many questions about why this orca chose to ram his yacht. He remained perplexed. Marine biologists who heard Dr. Rutten's story offered varied explanations. Some suggested the orca was testing a new object in its environment. Orcas are intelligent and often interact with floating debris or boats. Others proposed the whale found the fishing line intriguing or annoying. Maybe it mistook the line for prey or felt territorial. A few experts pointed to recent reports of orcas off the Iberian Peninsula ramming sailboats. They wondered if such behavior was spreading through learned social patterns. Orcas share knowledge within pods, so a single innovative act can become group practice. However, the Shetland area orcas usually feed on seals and fish, not boat parts. Scientists also noted that orcas sometimes show playful curiosity, pushing logs or chasing birds. But repeated rams suggested something beyond simple play. Without the direct study of this specific whale, any conclusion remained tentative. Researchers encouraged sailors to document orca encounters in detail, including photos, videos, or notes on weather and boat speed. Though orca-boat interactions are not common in the North Sea, this case caused many to ask if such incidents might rise. Orcas thrive in cold waters, and their presence around the Shetland Islands is well known. Most sightings remain peaceful, but even a few aggressive events can shape public perception. In recent years, sailors near Spain and Portugal reported multiple orca boat collisions. The repeated nature of those strikes led to speculation about learned group behavior or environmental stressors. Could orcas be defending territory, reacting to noise, or simply experimenting? No single explanation fits every situation, and experts caution against generalizing from isolated cases. Still, insurance companies, sailing clubs, and local authorities took note. Some advised boaters to reduce speed and limit trailing lines in areas where orcas were spotted. Others suggested carrying acoustic devices or avoiding known hotspots altogether. Conservationists worried that fear-based reactions might harm orcas, leading to calls for protective regulations. In May 2024, a Spanish sailing yacht named Albarán Cognac encountered a group of orcas near Cape Spartel, at the Strait of Gibraltar's southern entrance. 2 sailors were on board, hoping for a routine passage in calm weather. Early in the morning, they spotted the pod swimming nearby. At first, the crew admired these sleek marine mammals. Then the orcas began bumping the hull, focusing on the rudder. With each impact, water pressure rose, and the fiberglass structure started to crack. Soon, the sailors realized their vessel was in danger, prompting a desperate call for help across the maritime channels. The Albarán Cognac was a mid-sized sailing yacht designed for coastal trips and moderate offshore routes. It had a fiberglass hull, a cabin, and the usual safety gear like life jackets, flares, and a radio. Its 2 crew members were seasoned sailors with several Atlantic passages under their belts. They had left port that morning in good spirits, expecting only minor waves and light winds. They planned to cross the Strait of Gibraltar and continue along the Moroccan coast. For many sailors, orcas in the region were a known curiosity, yet confrontations were rare. The 2 crew members respected marine life and took pride in navigating these waters responsibly. Before the unexpected bumps, they noticed orcas in the distance, breaching and tail slapping. These signs often indicate a playful mood or feeding activity. Neither expected the whales to target their boat. That assumption changed once the hull started to vibrate. Within minutes, the orcas intensified their strikes against the yacht's rudder. One final hit caused a loud crack. Seawater flooded in, and the boat began listing to one side. Realizing they were sinking, the crew grabbed life jackets and sent a mayday call. Their AIS broadcast their location, alerting nearby vessels and Moroccan maritime authorities. a Coast Guard helicopter scrambled from shore, while an oil tanker named MT Lasco diverted to assist. The crew of the Albaran Cognac had no choice but to abandon the ship. They deployed a small inflatable raft, watching helplessly as their beloved yacht took on water. Soon, the hull disappeared beneath the surface, leaving them adrift. Fortunately, the rescue operation was swift. The helicopter guided the tanker to the raft, and the two sailors were pulled aboard. They were shaken but unharmed, grateful for the quick response. News of a yacht sinking due to orca strikes spread fast, shocking both the local sailing community and marine experts worldwide. Once on land, the sailors recounted how the orcas seemed focused on the rudder, taking turns bumping it. They did not appear to aim for the people, yet the results were still devastating. Insurance assessments classified the yacht as a total loss. Environmental groups are worried about possible harm to orcas from leftover debris. The story sparked fresh debate over why these apex predators engage so forcefully with a passing sailboat, adding to an alarming pattern of orca-related incidents in the region. More questions than answers would soon follow. Researchers believe a specific group of orcas, nicknamed the Gladys pod, may be responsible for these attacks. This pod, estimated at around 15 individuals, moves between Iberian waters and the Strait of Gibraltar. Scientists have tracked them since orca boat encounters became more frequent in 2020. They suspect one orca, called Gladys White, might have started the behavior after a traumatic event involving fishing gear. Some theories suggest the orcas are damaging rudders to stop boats, which they may see as threats or distractions. Others say it could be playful or learned aggression. Orcas, known for advanced learning and communication, might teach each other new acts. In this incident, observers wondered whether the Gladys whales had extended their range closer to Morocco's coastline. Tracking data remains limited, but each new attack adds to the puzzle. Researchers hope to gather photographic evidence and acoustic recordings to confirm if this was indeed the same group. No direct harm to humans has been confirmed as intentional. Still, the sinking of a yacht reveals the sheer power orcas hold. The Gladys group stands at the center of an ongoing mystery, challenging experts to find patterns in what seems like novel orca conduct. Tensions remain high. News of this sinking raised fresh questions about the relationship between humans and orcas. Some sailors felt fear and called for strong deterrence, worried more attacks could follow. Others stressed the need for calm study, urging boaters to respect orca space and minimize potential provocations. Authorities in Spain, Morocco, and Gibraltar considered stricter guidelines, including transit advice and speed limits in areas with known orca activity. Marine conservationists urged caution. Orcas remain a protected species, and harming them would be illegal and ethically wrong. They argued that these events might be orcas reacting to human presence, possibly due to changes in fish stocks or repeated close encounters with noisy vessels. Researchers also noted that orcas in this region have historically interacted with fishing boats, sometimes competing for tuna. Insurance companies began reviewing policies covering orca-related damage, adding costs and complexities for sailors. Meanwhile, local tourism operators are worried about negative publicity. Yet for many, orca sightings are still a highlight of any trip at sea. Balancing safety with wildlife conservation remains a challenge. As the Gladys incidents continue, experts seek solutions that protect both people and these predators from further harm. If you enjoyed this video, watch our next one shown on screen.